Hey, what's up? Welcome to Brands on Brands. I'm Brandon Birkmeyer, your personal branding coach. And today we are talking about 7 different ways that you can refresh or grow your brand that you've already started to build. There's a lot of content creators out there. So today we are diving into ideas to take your content, your platforms, your podcasts to the next level. So this is all part of my ideas that I've put down on paper, 100 different personal branding activities to elevate your brand in 2025. You can get that at brandsonbrands.com/refresh. And we're getting into it. So excited to have you here today. Let's just get right into some of the things you may have already thought of. By the way, a lot of the time, these aren't new ideas. These are ideas you've heard of, but maybe you just need the motivation to start taking action because there's too many choices. So one of my favorite things to tell people to do is to look at repurposing. What I mean by repurposing is reposting things you've already posted. So I have podcasts that I've aired years ago that I still post today. In fact, just this week, I rebroadcast a podcast episode from 3 years ago. And these are great because a lot of the time you have people coming into your world that haven't seen the stuff that you've created a while ago, and it's good content. So reposting is a great way to do that. You can do this with any kind of content, YouTube videos, podcasts, TikToks, whatever you want to do. I look back and actually go into my podcast player and I rank my episodes by listens to see what my most popular content was. And then I look at when it was aired and say, okay, what has not been on the show in a long time that did well? And is this something I've rebroadcast already, or do I want to do it for the first time? So I find things that I repost and people respond and say, God, that was a great episode. And I was like, yeah, this is from a long time ago. But repurposing or reposting old content as new is a great way to do that. For me, sometimes I change the titles or I change the show notes, but I leave the general recording. You could also re-record the introduction and then add in the same podcast. I just rebroadcast the exact same podcast with a new show note or title. So that's an easy way to get new content out there without a lot of work. So try that. That's number one. The second thing that we can do is take our podcast episodes or our YouTube episodes, anything that you're recording your voice on, and turn them into blog articles. I know that that's so obvious, but I'm telling you, so many people don't do that. And in fact, I'm guilty of that as well. There are certain episodes that it's just more work to turn them into blogs, and I just don't take the time. It's almost easier to write a new blog article sometimes than to convert a podcast into a blog article, but the content is already there. So now that we have these amazing tools like ChatGPT, it's actually easy to say, okay, after I've transcribed something, let me take that, put that into ChatGPT and say, hey, look at the transcript of this. Can you turn this transcript into a blog article with proper headings and subheadings and breaking up the content where needed? And then you can post that to your blog, add pictures if you want, and you have content that was really easy to create. And it's not a mental lift of you having to be creative. So maybe you take a day of your week where you're not feeling as creative and you just process some of this old work and turn it into new formats. So podcasts into blogs or into articles that you can post on LinkedIn are a great way to do that. So that's number 2. The third thing is to create an email sequence. Now, email sequences won't be new for you guys, but is there something that you can put together? It could be an email sequence, or it could be a sequence of like 3 podcast episodes or 3 LinkedIn posts. But think of a thematic story or thematic article that you can share in pieces and say, what's part 1, 2, 3, and 4? What this does is it gives people something to binge. It gives people something to look forward to, and maybe a more in-depth idea that you can dive into further than you do in your general shares. And this can be, again, applied to lots of formats. Maybe it's 4 TikTok videos that you put together as a series, or 4 LinkedIn articles or posts, or 4 podcast episodes that you break into pieces. It could be one interview that you break into 4 pieces and you talk about different ideas from that interview. The idea is, instead of using the same format every time, maybe we can introduce some creativity to kind of change up how we deliver the content to our audience that's listening. It gives them a fresh take on something, gives them something to binge and listen to, and might even be something that if you're telling people 3 months from now, 6 months from now, hey, go back and listen to something, this could be something you point them to because it's a little bit more bingeable, a little bit more interesting than just any episode that you recorded that year. So break things up and provide people some kind of sequence. It could be an email sequence, could be a podcast series, whatever you want to do, but some kind of serialized, episodic 3 or 4 part series. Check that out. Let me know how that works out for you. By the way, you can always email me, Brandon@brandsonbrands.com. If you try one of these, I'd love to hear it. Let me know. Or post about it, tag me in it. I'd love to see what you guys are doing. All right. And again, if you guys want this full list, that is all at brandsonbrands.com/refresh to check these things out. All right. Number 4. I think the 4th thing you could do, real easy thing, is to find people to partner with to share content together. Maybe you create one episode that's not an interview, but it's you and someone else creating something together and sharing it to both of your audiences. What's nice is you have a pre-set agreement to do this together and to both be posting about it. A lot of the time when we do interviews, the other person, the guest, has not committed to fully sharing it as much as you have. So if you can create something that is fully posted independently as your episode and theirs on both of your platforms with promotional materials that you put on both of your platforms, it helps you both grow. A subheader to this, I use an email tool that tells other people about my newsletter, and I tell other people about others' newsletters on my newsletter as well. So I partner with other content creators to say, hey, when someone signs up to yours, can you promote mine as well? And I do the same for them. It's an easy way to co-create and share attention. If they discover you, they might also like this other person. So you might be doubling or tripling your audience with sharing content with other people. All right, let's get into another one. One easy way to get out there and start to build your attention is to pay for some of that attention. A lot of people are spending money on production, on editors, and on going to conferences. Maybe cancel something for the month and say, what if I spent $100 promoting my content and trying different things? I've tried lots of things. I've promoted content on YouTube. I've promoted content on Google Search. I've promoted it on Spotify. I promoted it with different podcast promotional ad networks. And the content that's important to you sometimes could deserve a little boost. So paying for that boost could be helpful. You could boost your TikTok post, your YouTube post, your Facebook post, whatever it might be. And each of these tools you're getting to now to know a little bit better while building attention for your content. So that's a great one to get started trying different things and see if it works for you. And then if you have something that works, you can actually double down and start doing it again and again. All right. So we've gotten resharing old posts. We've gotten turning podcasts into blogs. We've got resharing content as sequences or creating content sequences. We've got using paid ads. That's 4 things. And then let's talk about a 5th thing. A 5th thing would be if you could take your article, anything you write, some kind of newsletter article, and submit it across multiple article platforms. A lot of people write a blog and they just put it on their own blog. What I like to do these days is I write a blog and I put it not just on my blog, but I can put that on LinkedIn as well as a LinkedIn article. I can send that article out as a newsletter, and I can post it other places. Some people use a Medium, that's a blog website, Medium as another site, or similar sites to syndicate their articles to other places. Some people use Patreon, some people use Beehive, but find other places to submit your articles so that they are seen in many places as possible. You could even take your articles and break them up and post them as social media posts, like a LinkedIn post or a Facebook post. Post a piece of it with a link to the blog to send people to go see it, to send more people to go see it. So start to share it across more places. The goal is you've already done the work, so why not help more people find it? All right, let's get you guys a couple more quick ones. The next thing you can do is look at sharing social media clips like the little videos, not just as cut down pieces. What everyone's doing is they're taking their podcast, they're putting it into Opus Clip and taking clips of their podcast and sharing it. What I'd like you to try to do is create something new. Think of a content idea and record 1 minute or less video, just you direct to phone. And you can relate it to content you've already created. You could say, okay, I just recorded a podcast. I'm going to take an idea from that podcast and create a new video right there on my phone. What's nice is with these 1 minute clips or 30-second clips, it's just you looking at your phone in any environment. I do it in my office. I've done it outside, and just sharing some ideas. And now as you start to record 10, 20, 30 of those over the course of an hour, just sitting in one spot, now you have a lot of things that you can save into your brand folders. And then when you need them, pull them out and post them on social media to fill in your content calendar. We have a lot of people repurposing old content, but what that's leaving room for is you creating something new that's you looking directly at the camera, sharing a short idea. That's a great way to really not just fill your content calendar with new things that are appropriate for the format, but also find things that you can use to be a little bit more creative in the beginning to maybe hook people in to get more attention for your content. Because maybe one viral post that was created specifically for short form video helps drive attention to the posts that are less virally oriented, if you will. So create different TikToks, find ways to introduce your videos, find ways to create better hooks so that your short form video could drive interest in your long form video. Now, I know that this stuff works because I've posted vertical video and the horizontal video, same clip, a minute or less on YouTube. One is horizontal, one is vertical, and the vertical one had 1,000 views and the horizontal one had 0 views just because of the format. So finding ways to make things interesting for the formats that they're intended is a great strategy. All right, last thing. I'd love you guys to start thinking as short form video creators. So what could you do in other formats like podcasting, articles, YouTube videos that cater to shorter bursts of ideas, shorter length content? You're always going to have longer content, but what can you do to sometimes add in a 2, 3, 4 minute podcast episode or a 1 paragraph blog article, a listicle, some simple tips, some simple steps? What can you do to chop down your content, create original, shorter pieces of content that can help bring people into your world? Sometimes we get so focused on just recreating the same type of content every week, and we're not changing or playing with the format to give some variety to what we're doing. So what I would look at is, if you have a 30-minute podcast, what could you do to create a few 3 or 5 minute podcasts? If you have 30-minute YouTube videos, what could you do to create 1 minute YouTube videos? If you do blog articles that are 3,000 words long, what could you do to create a few 500-word articles and kind of fill in the gaps there? So this is a longer podcast for me, but I have a lot of short podcast episodes as well. So change it up, try different things. All right, that's what I got for you guys today. Those are 7 ways that you can try different ways to build your content attention online. Try 7 different things that I've tried. It adds a lot of variety, brings a lot of new attention into my world. I hope it works for you guys as well. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time. Brands on Brands.